Half in the bag. I'm trying to find my fleshlight with the flashlight. All right. Got it all duct taped up. No more deadly gases coming into this house, Jay.
Oh, thank God, because I was legally dead for 6 minutes.
Me too, but I wish it was longer.
Well, at least now we don't have to worry about this place getting all stinky.
Hey, speaking of stinky, let's talk about all the films that we saw this year.
Okay. What do you have there?
Oh, why, it's a bottle opener. High quality bottle opener.
Yeah?
See that?
It worked and everything.
I know. It has some writing on it, but that's inconsequential.
Sure. Well, Mike, we haven't talked about movies for a little while. Why is that?
Because we haven't seen any good ones?
Because we haven't seen anything. There's been nothing. There's been like a dry spell these last few weeks. The only thing that would maybe be a half in the bag type movie would be Sin City 2. I saw the trailer for that and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, apparently no one else did either.
Yeah, it was a big old flop. Well, I think it's the first one. It's like, you see that, you know, I like the first one a lot, and it's got this really distinct visual style, but now we've seen that. I have no interest in revisiting that world.
Plus there is those similar looking style films.
Oh, The Spirit?
The Spirit, but...
And Too Little Too Late is what I was saying.
Yeah, a little bit late. Like a couple years later, they could have done a sequel, but 28 years later, a little late. And plus, it looked worse than the first one in terms of...
It looked cheaper.
Was it directed by Robert Rodriguez?
It was. He turns out movies in his garage over a weekend now, and they all look like crap. Have you seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No.
That hit film?
I saw Lava Boy and Shark Girl, though.
Oh, weird. Was that the Asylum version?
This is the Asylum version, yeah. Now it's Lava Girl and Sharknado Boy. That's the next one that's coming out.
Well, pretty soon, I think Robert Rodriguez is going to be directing movies for the Asylum.
I think after so many failed films, he's going to end up in an asylum. See what I did?
That was great.
It's top-notch humor is what that was. Top-notch.
Well, we still don't have any movies to see unless you're eagerly awaiting Kevin Smith's film Tusk, which I don't think anybody is. But so let's talk about some movies that we've seen over the last year that we have not talked about on Half in the Bag. The first one is called Blue Ruin.
I apologize for the mystery. He's going to be released. It's an awful thing he did to them.
I want to say it's kind of like a deconstruction of typical revenge movies, which those are really popular right now. Like Liam Neeson stars in 5 revenge movies a year. He's always out to avenge his daughter.
Those aren't movies.
Is that just his life? That's Liam Neeson's life?
The films that come out about Liam Neeson are, it's called the ongoing biography series.
Oh, it's like the 7 Up series.
Right, yeah. So it's basically like, that's what happened last year in Liam Neeson's life.
When is he going to exact revenge on George Lucas?
Whenever they invent a lightsaber.
Well, Liam Neeson is not in this movie. Okay. The Blue Ruin is... it takes a lot of the elements of revenge movies and plays them as if they would happen to a normal person. Not an action hero, not a Liam Neeson type, a guy who maybe has the passion for revenge, but not any skill whatsoever. But it's not played as a comedy. It's very understated. Our hero is introduced as a homeless man with a big shaggy beard who's digging through the garbage because he hasn't been able to move on with his life since his loved ones were killed. And also it's different than most movies is the people that were killed are his parents. It's not like his wife's been kidnapped or his daughter's been killed or anything. It's his parents, so he's been sort of stuck in this kind of like arrested adolescent state. He's very quiet, very vulnerable, and he fucks a lot of things up in his attempts to get revenge.
Okay.
And it's really great.
I'll shed no tears. I'll shed no...
God damn! You missed from 2 yards? I'm switching you to buckshot.
A lot of it lies on the shoulders of the lead actor, who I was completely unfamiliar with, but he's very very expressive eyes, very vulnerable, and a really good performance. The guy who wrote and directed it and the guy who starred in it are like childhood friends. They've been making movies since they were little kids.
Oh, I thought you meant childhood friends of yours.
No, I do not know either of them.
And I was like, what is this, some kind of plug?
They made one previous movie to this called Murder Party, and I watched that afterwards because I liked Blue Ruin so much. And it's a different type of movie. It's a horror comedy thing, but the lead actor from Blue Ruin is also in that in a comedic role. And it's also really good. So it didn't come out this year, but I would also recommend it. And it takes place on Halloween, so it's a good Halloween movie.
Are these like low budget movies?
Lower budget, yeah. Yeah,
Like
Tiny Cruise.
Not where they look like real movies?
This is one of the best looking movies I've seen all year.
Okay.
It's shot gorgeous, it looks great, and all the performances are really really
Okay,
great.
good. Because sometimes you rent some of those stinkers from the Red Box.
Oh yes.
And you put it in the DVD player, and then the first frame that comes on, it looks like cheap video.
And you just shut it off immediately.
You know, it was a good-looking movie. A movie we both saw called Enemy,
Yes.
starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
You don't go to the movies, do you? I don't go out that much. Is there a reason why you're asking me this? You know, maybe you had a recommendation.
Wow.
It's another
Great
one.
film.
It's probably my favorite movie of the year. You don't want to give too much away. It's not a literal movie. It's very abstract, but you can still follow what's happening if that makes sense. Which is kind of what my favorite movies do, where there's sort of a balance between abstract, surreal elements, but still having a story to connect with.
Well, you know me, I'm a big fan of structure in my movies. I like to know exactly what's happening. But then there is another side of me that likes the surreal and the slow moving. You know, in this movie, as long as it's engaging.
Yeah.
If it becomes frustrating, the surreal, where it's like, I don't know what's happening, and like,
Some movies kind of fall off the deep end there.
and this, like you said, gives you that perfect balance of like, wow, this is such a different take on reality. It's so engaging, and like one thing leads to this and this to that, and you're really following what's happening. And the movie looks great. It's very drab. It takes place in Toronto, unapologetically, where it's we're in Toronto, and Toronto is nothing but ugly architecture everywhere. Sorry, Toronto, but it's like endless glass and steel condos that are just sort of like nameless and faceless and without any kind of character, and the whole movie like looks like that.
It's the perfect setting for that movie.
It's the perfect setting, and the acting's great. You get engaged in it, and then for those who have seen it are well aware of a nice twist ending that is a little bit of a mind fuck. And highly recommend Enemy.
The whole movie's yellow and ugly.
Yellow
it
and
makes
brown
you sick. I can't remember the last time I was like nervous through the whole movie. Just something about the tone of it, and there's lots of like creepy ambience and the performances where it's just, even when I wasn't sure where it was going, I was like on edge for the entire movie. That rarely happens. It's like something that happens when I watch a David Lynch movie. And this movie didn't feel like a David Lynch movie in a lot of ways, but it had that same sort of impact.
Yeah, if a movie can successfully keep you on edge with a subtle tension, it's doing its job effectively. Well, not all movies. Not Tammy. I don't want to watch Tammy and feel subtle, disturbing tension the whole time.
I think that's what I would feel if I saw Tammy.
Who are you?
What's wrong? You're crazy.
I'm crazy!
I also saw Woody Allen's new film, Magic in the Moonlight. Jay, what did you think of Magic in the Moonlight?
I didn't see it.
Well, it was great.
Yeah?
No. It was a solid good.
Stanley, you are still the best in the world. I need your help.
The plot thickens.
The Catledge family are socialized in the south of France. There's a woman who has them believing she's a spirit medium. You are the greatest debunker of fake spiritualists.
She won't fool me.
It stars Emma Stone and The King's Speech. It's cute. I could kind of predict what was going to happen. It was really obvious to me as far as like what was going to happen with the characters, but it's very, very benign, very comfortable.
That's kind of a lot of modern Woody Allen. Sometimes they're really good. Like I really like Midnight in Paris, but a lot of times they're sort of like a warm blanket. They're comfy, but
it was a great.
They don't last. They don't stick with you the way some of his older movies do.
Yeah, it was a great grandma movie. All the grandmas can go and enjoy it. Very non-offensive, very cute, and it had a nice little wrap up at the end.
Well, Woody Allen makes a movie a year. He's made 175 movies, and sometimes you can tell that he's inspired by something, and sometimes it just feels like he's going through the motions.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this one, but that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you get from the trailer.
You're gonna die! Run!
My aunt used to bring me here as a boy. The roof opens up. You can see the universe. It's menacing.
Find that menacing? I'd say it was very romantic.
Well, very similar to the movie you saw that you were just describing, I saw a film called Proxy, which is about child murder.
Jay, do you have some kind of problem? Yeah, you tend to watch a lot of dark films. I can't wait to hear the rest of the ones you've watched.
They're not all dark, are they?
Well, you gotta explore that part of your psyche.
Yeah, most of the movies I saw that we
hopefully not while masturbating, but you know.
Do you feel up to talking about what happened?
Everything is just pieces, fragments. I couldn't tell you what was real or not.
Proxy is a movie I went into completely blind, and I don't want to give too much away because...
You watched it blind?
I did. I had a blindfold on, and I was just listening, which was unfortunate because there's long stretches of the movie where there's no dialogue.
That's a great idea for a business venture, by the way. You know how they have the blind dining? When you know about this?
I do not know what you're talking about.
People go into a restaurant and they're completely, it's like sensory deprivation where they cover their eyes and they eat foods and stuff and they don't know what they're eating. I want to open a movie theater where you are blindfolded and your ears are plugged.
Okay. Let's get on that.
And we can only screen Michael Bay films.
What would it matter? We could not screen anything. That would save us a lot of costs on film prints because they wouldn't even know.
The movie's about to start, everybody.
Yeah.
Order your concessions.
Put the earplugs in and then they just sit there and shove popcorn in their face.
It would be like a regular movie-going experience.
Where no one's paying attention to the screen. Yeah.
I think you're the only one who understands.
I didn't know anything about it going into it, which is the best way to watch it because it's constantly shifting focus in a way where you don't know where it's going to go next, and not in a way where there's any big, like, shocking revelations. It's a very sort of stripped down, simple, character-driven movie about these two women that meet in a support group for women that have lost their children. But neither of the women are quite what they seem.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be a horror movie. It's really not. It's more of a character drama,
more of a slapstick
thriller.
comedy.
The first minute of the movie features a very pregnant woman getting assaulted, and so that's how the movie starts. So I would not recommend it to everyone. It's very dark, but it's constantly almost like a Psycho, where Janet Leigh at a certain point she leaves Psycho, and the movie completely shifts focus. It's similar to that.
Wait, Janet Leigh gets killed in Psycho?
That's spoiler. I'm sorry if I ruined Psycho for you.
Well, thanks.
It's not a movie that a lot of people know about the twist going into it. So
yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah,
I wanted to watch it because I'm a Janet Leigh fan, and hearing that she's not in the whole film is a little disappointing, Jay. You gotta watch those spoilers.
I'm sorry. Hey, have you ever seen The Sixth Sense?
Spoilers. Hallie Joel Osment grows up to be a weirdo. I hear he's starring in the sequel to Boyhood called Boyhood.
I would never hurt you.
I found something that I felt I should tell you about.
But anyway, back to Proxy. It's an interesting movie. It's very different. It's not for everyone because it does get very dark. But yeah, it's an interesting story, and it kept me guessing.
No more lies.
Well, I saw a film very recently, actually, that I had everything going against it for me. It's the directorial debut of Gia Coppola.
There's another Coppola?
There's another Coppola.
Where'd this Coppola come from?
I think Francis Ford drank a little too much wine.
Oh.
He made a whole bunch of Coppolas.
And they all make movies now.
And they all make movies now.
Most of them shouldn't.
Yeah, this film is about teenage romance.
What's it called?
It's called Palo Alto.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on the literary writings of one James Franco. The Palo Alto writings. And I was like, oh, what the
Mr. B is a hottie. Too bad he wants to get it in with April.
No, he doesn't. Why would you say that?
Part of the story of this is he plays a high school girls soccer coach who falls in love with a 17-year-old girl and wants to sleep with her.
Oh, this is unfortunate timing.
It's a little unfortunate. Not that this incident with him was like a huge thing. Yeah. And then I think he corrected it properly by addressing it and whatever. But and then given the fact that this isn't just a script he picked, it's based on material that he wrote. I don't know. I don't want to get too involved in the psychological aspect of this.
Sure.
I'm going to look at the film. It was very, very good. It also stars Emma Roberts, who is Julia Roberts' niece, who beat up Quicksilver.
Oh my God.
I mean, are you following me?
I am. I know of these events.
Okay. And she's in this film, and she's the object of James Franco's desire.
Oh, is James Franco in the movie?
He's in the movie, too.
Does Emma Roberts punch James Franco in the movie?
No, but he does sleep with her.
This party sucks.
I'm older and I know that there aren't a lot of good things around.
But then there's a couple other characters. There's these two guys that are friends. One is like insane and potentially closeted homosexual. And then the other guy who's like a fuck up, and he crashes his car drunk, and all these things happen in the movie. I don't want to get into too much detail. It's not like a whole overarching complex narrative. It's more like very subtle. This happens, you know.
I look at the life of these characters, kind of like a shortcuts type movie, or
not that many characters.
Sure, but that kind of style.
Yeah, it had echoes of Boyhood. And the neat thing about it was, while Boyhood was clunky and awkward and felt like it was written by a 70-year-old man writing teenager dialogue that was embarrassingly bad, awkward, and completely wrong, this really feels authentic in its portrayal of teenagers in high school.
Does it, unlike Boyhood, does it have a little bit of style to it at least?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fairly lost in translation-y in terms of execution and style and pacing and everything involved in it. So, and kind of going with that same look, that same feel, and it's a really well done movie. And I found myself pretty engaged in it, in its portrayal of these characters. And you can kind of like, you know, teenagers do dumb things. And they have this kind of like distorted view of reality that has yet to mature in their brains.
Sure.
And you get that feeling.
Okay.
You can. It's almost like putting a lens, like the teenager lens, through your eyes and going, that's how they see the world. That's how we all saw the world when we were young and stupid. And it's really effective in that.
Well, I also saw Snowpiercer this year, which was a movie, somehow it slipped past me. I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it. And then all of a sudden, we were getting lots of requests to review it. They're like, see Snowpiercer, see Snowpiercer. I was like, what the fuck is this movie? I'd never heard of it.
This chaos. 1,000 people in an iron box. 18 years I've hated the train. 18 years I've waited for this moment.
This is the world. The train saved humanity.
The engine lasts forever. The population must always be kept in balance.
I said sit down!
But it's directed by the guy who did The Hosts, not the American The Host, the monster, Korean monster movie The Host, which is a really good movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's, when I heard the premise, it was an eye roller, because I think we've talked about this before, but it's the overused sci-fi trope of the poor having to overtake the rich upper class citizens, and it's
rich people do.
This is what they do. Yeah, they're very pompous, and they do this all day. I don't know what it means, but that's what they do.
So that Matt Damon flop, Elysium?
Well, that's what I was thinking of, Elysium, and I think we've mentioned the worst example of it is Land of the Dead. That's the most hollow, stupid way of of using that trope. But this movie, it's the post-apocalyptic future. The entire world is uninhabitable due to cold. It's completely frozen wasteland. But the few remaining people on Earth live on this train that was invented before the Earth was destroyed.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me about this.
Yeah, it's a train that has an engine that can run forever, and it goes all over the world. So there are few remaining people on Earth are living on this train. It's become its own sort of insular habitats. The low-class citizens are in the back of the train, and they try to revolt and get to the front of the train.
Why, if the train's not stopping, who cares?
Well, because they're fed like shitty food, and they're treated like
living conditions.
Living conditions, yeah. They're treated poorly. They're treated as lower class citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that premise, one, I was like, well, that premise is ridiculous. This never-ending train. It seems like there'd be so many weather conditions that would prevent something like that from working in real life, and the poor versus the rich thing, which has been done to death. But the movie is very good. Once you get past that initial premise being completely ludicrous, because it kind of works in more of a fairy tale way, like a fantasy. And the explanation as to why there would be these lower class citizens is explained in the movie, and it makes sense, and it's actually really interesting.
What do you say? We take the engine, and we control the world.
When is the time?
Soon.
Great action, lots of really good action set pieces in the film. Lots of nice variety to the locations and the scenery, despite the fact that it's all set on this train. Chris Evans, Captain America, he plays the lead. He's very good in it. Lots of nice, interesting supporting characters, which it doesn't seem like a lot of modern action movies have. They have there's the Tom Cruise character, and then everybody else is boring as shit. This movie's got lots of nice character work. Tilda Swinton is in it. She's really great. Yeah, my biggest complaint about the movie, though, is that once they get to the front of the train, I guess this is kind of spoilers, the guy that's in charge that runs the train is played by Ed Harris, and I was having Truman Show flashbacks. At the end of the Truman Show, he lives in this contained environment, and then at the end, Ed Harris is explaining to him the entire situation and why he's important, and it feels just like the Truman Show. I don't know if they cast him as an intentional nod to that or what, but I found it to be really distracting.
When you said Ed Harris, I pictured Ed O'Neill.
It was not Ed O'Neill.
That was distracting.
They get to the front of the train, they open the door, and there's Ed O'Neill with his hand in his pants.
Sitting on the conductor's seat.
Yeah, really good. Really solid action movie, nice sci-fi concept, and really well executed.
All right. Snowpiercer, everybody. Snowpiercer. That's what I call my chair piercer.